There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino is the name.
Hey, yo, what's going on right now? You're watching Casino is the Name, and in this video, I wanted to talk to you guys about the worst bank ever. I'm talking about the absolute worst bank ever, okay? Now, I have a lot of experience with banks. Just a little backstory. I used to bank, well, I still bank with USAA on my personal side. I have multiple accounts with USAA for my personal stuff. I have Bank of America also for my personal stuff. You know, USAA is not necessarily the easiest if you don't have, if you need to like deposit cash, or if you actually want to walk into a banking institution on your personal side. USAA is mainly online, okay? It's not necessarily the best. So I still have Bank of America for any of my local needs. If I need to just run some money into a bank, or if I need to do anything like that, I have Bank of America for that on my personal side as well. But I mainly bank with USAA for my personal bank. And so I also have, on my business side, I have banked in the past with SunTrust, and I've also banked with BB&T in the past for my business stuff. Now, SunTrust and BB&T, they joined banks, and now they're called Truist. So, you know, my SunTrust stuff, I stopped banking with SunTrust and started banking with BB&T, and now BB&T has turned into Truist. So now I bank with Truist on my business side, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to open up a Maris account. Now I have multiple Truist accounts as well. So USAA, I have a bunch of different USAA accounts, and with Truist, I have I think four accounts with Truist for business stuff. I don't have any personal banking things with Truist, but that's what I have with them. So I've also had credit unions in the past and things like that growing up. I've had plenty of experience dealing with multiple types of banks, different type of bank accounts, from savings accounts to saving business accounts to checking business accounts to accounts that for escrow accounts. I've had a lot of different types of things, right? And so one of the things that I was looking for was kind of like a USAA account, but local. And I was told that Navy Federal would be the best option for me. Now, let me tell you why I was looking for another account, especially a local account that was similar to USAA. Because I do business, I move a lot of money around. I have to Zelle a lot of money, okay? And so I got the Navy Federal credit card, which is why I originally even got with Navy Federal, because they have a credit card. Now that credit card is great. You can get a $25,000 limit with too easy. I think it's too easy, it's so good. So you can get a $25,000 limit fairly easy. And so I got that card, and I still didn't have like a checking account really with them, or, well, they opened one, but it was just so that I can get the card. I didn't have any money in it. And so I had that card, and that card is great. And so I was like, you know what? I ran into some issues with, say, Zelling money. If I needed to Zelle money to someone, my business account was topped off at $20,000. And then with my personal accounts with, say, USAA, I think they may be $5,000, maybe $10,000, I think like $5,000 there. And then with Bank of America was another $5,000. Now, I might need to move around at different times. I might have needed to move $50,000, $60,000 around, like through Zelle. I needed to pay people or whatever. Or maybe I needed to pay myself. And so I could withdraw the money and write what the reason is that I'm withdrawing the money from my business account and put it in my personal account. But even with Bank of America, I was limited, and I couldn't even do that with USAA, right? I couldn't go into a local bank. So I was like, you know what? Navy Federal is the best option because that's what everybody tells me. And they have a great credit card. Why wouldn't they be a greght bank? I put the money in my Navy Federal account, and I had to create my Zelle account through Navy Federal. So I had Zelle with Bank of America, I have Zelle with USAA, I have Zelle with Truist. And so I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and get Zelle with Navy Federal so I can send myself some money, and I should be able to send at least like $5,000, even if it was $3,000, whatever it is. I sometimes just need to move a large sum of money around. And I put the money in the account and I tried to Zelle myself. I don't know what it was, maybe like $1,500. It was within the limits that I was supposed to be able to Zelle. And that first Zelle that I tried to send, it froze it. And it was crazy. It took the money out of my account, right? So I could see where the $1,500 was being sent, but the money sat at Zelle and it was like, it's processing, and then they shut my account down, right? Like they like froze my account. So when I tried to log in, I couldn't really log in. I couldn't get past a certain screen that said I need to call the fraud department. And so I'm like, okay. So I called the fraud department after a couple of days, and it basically said that they had to make sure that that was really me because it was the first transaction. Now, I had never had this kind of issue with any other bank before, okay? So that was kind of surprising. So I get that approved, and they were like, okay, so we can go ahead and send this money now. And because the money was froze for several days, which is crazy because they pulled the money out of my account and then the money's froze. Now imagine if you need to pay rent, mortgage, car note, something like that. Fortunately, it wasn't that. I had other ways to get money, but this was definitely an inconvenience. That what if I was in dire need of this $1,500 or something like that, and this money is sitting in limbo. Never ever happened before. So I go from that to, we get the money approved, and I'm able to Zelle every now and then. I Zelle every now and then from it. Rare that I ever Zelle from that account. It's rare. So here recently, I was like, you know what? I found out that I had a couple $1,000s in that account that I really had forgot about. And I was like, oh, you know what? I could use this money for something. So let me go ahead and Zelle a couple dollars to myself. I didn't want to send it all out. I think I was Zelling about $800. Yeah, it was $800. So I Zelled $800 to myself, right? And while trying to Zelle the money to myself, it says, okay, money has been sent. I go to my USAA account. I look to see if the money hit that account, and it did not hit that account. And I'm trying to figure out why the money didn't hit the account. So I go back to my Navy Federal. I'm looking. I see $800 has been withdrawn or sent through Zelle. And so the money is out of my account. But the money didn't go here. So now, what do you think I'm doing? I'm checking my other accounts because maybe I Zelled a different account. Maybe I Zelled my business account. I have several of those. Maybe I Zelled my other Bank of America account, something. I don't know. So I'm trying to see where this money went. Then I'm checking to see what the Zelle username was, which was an email, which I know goes to the USAA account versus a phone number, which goes to a different account, or my other phone number that goes to a different account, or my other email that goes to a different account. So I'm having to do some work here. Find out, okay, I sent the money where I thought I sent it, but the money isn't there. So now I have to go look into the Zelle and see what the activity is, and it shows it's pending. Why it's showing as pending, I'm not sure. So I open up why it says that it's pending, and it says that the money will be sent in the next 1 to 2 business days. Or 1 to 3 business days, whatever it is. I think it said 1 to 2, could say 1 to 3. I don't know. It's more than instantaneous because Zelle should be right then. Like any other time I send a Zelle, the money is there immediately. And so now I have to wait that whole day. The money never goes, and it says should be deposited tomorrow. At some point it updates and tells me, or maybe I notice it, that it should be available tomorrow. That the money, it says money will be available tomorrow in your other account. So I'm like, wow. So I go to the bank that same day and I say, hey, as a matter of fact, I wake up that next day and the money is still not in that account. So I'm like, okay, it says the money should be here today. It's morning time. It's not here at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning. I said, you know what? I don't know why this money didn't come in at midnight or as soon as the bank opened. Let me go down here to the bank and find out why this money is still sitting and pending. It says it should be delivered today. Does that mean it's going to be delivered later this evening or at close of banking or sometime just randomly throughout the day it's going to be available? Let me go down here and see. So I go down there, I sign in, and once I sign in, they have me wait for maybe an hour, right? Because for whatever reason, it was a couple people there and they were taking a long time. My question was pretty simple, but I had to wait. So I wait an hour and I'm still checking. Hopefully it's gonna say, it's gonna hit my other account at some point. And so I go to the guy and I'm like, hey, what is it? When is this money going to clear this other account? Because this is a concern. This is a pointless use of me using, this is pointless for me to use Zelle if I don't know when the money is actually going to show up. Because what if I need to send this money and the reason that I'm sending it is because it needs to be there immediately? And they say, okay, well, let's find out why it didn't go. And what we discovered was there was a $3,000 limit, and up to $3,000 in 30 days, it can go immediately. After that, it can be 1 to 3 business days. And so I had sent $1,500 I sent two $1,500 payments, and they were both within the 30-day window. So this $800 was outside of the $3,000 window, and it is subject to being held. It'll still send, but they're gonna hold it for 1 to 3 business days. I don't know why, I don't know, but that was the case. And so that time frame goes, and I'm like, you know what, let me just go home and the money will be there tomorrow, but I'm never gonna use Zelle. So I withdrew the rest of my money from from Navy Federal. And I was like, I'm gonna let that money go ahead and send, but I'm gonna just go ahead and withdraw the rest of my money. So I withdrew the rest of my money, knew that I was not gonna be using Navy Federal anymore for any kind of Zelle things, and that was kind of the whole point of me even having the account. So I was like, I'm just withdraw my money and I'm gonna just move on. And, wait for that money to land tonight or tomorrow or something like that. So then the next day, so the money still hadn't hit. I wake up the next day, and guess what message I got from Navy Federal? It was like, sorry, this money is being, this transaction canceled. For whatever reason, I don't know why the transaction canceled or failed or whatever, but they basically put the money back into my account. I didn't tell them to cancel that transaction. I don't know why they did it. I have zero understanding of why they canceled my Zelle. And they held it for 2 to 3 days, right? They held it for several days. Then they canceled my Zelle. I didn't cancel it. I was just gonna, I was like, you know what? I don't want to mess nothing up. I'm just let them do what they're doing because they clearly don't know what they're doing in here, okay? And so that Zelle comes back to my account. So now I have to make another trip back to the bank yet again to withdraw the money that I had Zelled to myself previously. So, because it went back to my account. So I went back down there, withdrew that money. And when I was leaving, you know what it made me think about? Because I went to the ATM. I didn't even want to go inside. It was because when I went inside, I told them, hey, I want to know why this money canceled and came back, because I'm entrusting this transaction with you guys to go through. The money is here and it's coming to me. It's nothing fraudulent about this. It's not like the first time that I've sent money to myself. I'm sending it to my USAA account, my personal USAA account, and they still canceled the transaction. I have no idea why. So I go from that to, I go when I go back down there the second time, I go in and I say, hey, I'm trying to see somebody because I want to know about this transaction. They say, hey, it'll be like an hour wait. I say, you know what? Let me just go to the ATM, withdraw my $800, and I'm headed back to the house. I don't have an hour to wait for them to tell me that they don't really know why. Okay, I don't have an hour for that. But I was hoping they did know, but maybe I'll follow up with them later. But I'm like, I got better things to do. I'm gonna go to the ATM. And while I was at the ATM, you know what I thought about? I hadn't thought about this the whole time. One time, I had some cash. I had a couple $1,000s, and I didn't want to have that much money on me. And I think I had put some money in my Bank of America account, but I had hit my limit that I can deposit through the ATM for the day. And so for the rest of the money that I had, I was like, you know what? I can put, this money into my Navy Federal account because it's my local account because I can't do it with USAA. And so it's after hours. And I was like, you know what? Well, matter of fact, it wasn't even after hours. Well, it might have been after hours. I don't even know. I think that when I was deciding to go put the money in there, it was still like banks were open, but they weren't closed yet. But by the time I got there, maybe the banks had just closed or whatever, which is still not a problem because I'm putting the money in the ATM and the ATM, cash deposit thing. And so I get there, I put the money in, and guess what happens? You guessed it. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't put the money in. I got the money in my hand and I'm trying to put the money in. Guess what happens? Navy Federal ATMs were all down. Well, in Conyers, they were down, which is why I drove to Conyers to try to put money in that Navy Federal account. It was shut down, okay? It said, hey, can't put any money. It was a bunch of everybody saying, yo, my card isn't working. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening right now. None of the ATMs there were working. So then I go to Snellville. I go down to Snellville, it's another suburb out here. I go to Snellville to their Navy Federal. I go there, and guess what happens? So this is crazy because I'm thinking that maybe it's just this branch. So everybody who was down there in Conyers drove to Snellville. I don't know, 30-minute drive. I don't know what it is. But everybody drives down there. So I'm seeing the same people who I just saw at the other place. We're all down here now, and we're trying to I don't know what they were trying to do. I was trying to deposit money. I don't know if some of them were trying to withdraw money. I don't know what they were doing. But I know I was the only one who I saw that had like cash that I was trying to deposit. But the ATMs were just down in general. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't withdraw money. You couldn't deposit money. You couldn't check your balance. They were all just down. So while I was standing there at the ATM about to withdraw my $800, I remembered thinking, this is crazy that the ATM won't even let me, so I have to leave and go back. I done spent like 2 hours trying to, about an hour, 2 hours trying to just deposit money into my account, driving around to different Navy Federals, and they're not working, okay? It's not working. So, I ended up still having to hold on to that cash and waiting until I can go in on Monday to deposit money at my local Bank of America while they were open during the day. It was a major inconvenience, and I was not comfortable really having cash. I don't really keep cash on me, just so you know. But, it was a very interesting situation, but I was like, maybe that's just a one-off, right? And a lot of people was complaining about it. And then this situation happened again. So twice I had problems with Zelle. And then I had problems depositing cash into the ATM. Well, just my card even working, or just the ATMs even working at multiple branches. I guess they were updating their system. I don't know, but I've never had those things happen ever in my life with anyone else. This is why I say Navy Federal is the worst bank I personally have ever experienced. Anyway, right now you're watching Casino Is the Name. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we out.
I was always focused on the money. I started with nothing. I was born to be an entrepreneur. I'm a real estate investor. Had my own trucking authority. Multiple college degrees. Ex-military. I'm an author, motivational speaker, not to mention I'm an accountant. But with all the things that I've done, it was government contracts that truly made me rich.
Hey, yo, what's going on right now? You're watching Casino is the Name, and if you wanted to know how I started my trucking business, I have an ebook called Big Shot, Hot Shot Volume 1, Own Your Trucking Authority. It's a great book, 5-star reviews. The link will be in the description below. Go get that. Yeah.
Beat me up, Scotty. Me and
her together, we just counted up. Money on my mind, I can't get enough. Don't play with my money, you don't want no beef. Cause I come from the bottom, I come from the street. When she first saw me, she said, who is that? When a man saw me, he called me a threat. I'm the one that really live with a rap. They ain't never did it, they ain't really trap. Say you want to be successful, but what's stopping you? Can't nothing stop you from being successful except for you. You standing in your own way. I came from the bottom. I ain't know nothing but the grind. You can't tell me nothing about that. I caught the bus at Basin Street Projects in Tallahassee, Florida. You hear me? I used to think $1 million would last me my whole life. I'd have made that and spent that. $1 million ain't enough.
Yo, what's going on right now? You're watching Casino is the Name, and if you find any value in these videos, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And stay tuned.
There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino is the Name.